Hello. Hello, friends. Hey there, Slava Brooks here. If you're watching this replay, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm a trauma recovery coach, and I love to support my fellow survivor thrivers on the journey to the heart, as I call it, or releasing your authentic self. And if you're looking for support, some tools for your healing, please check out my website, slavabrooks.com, and you can find more information below this video, where I will share some of the links to my social media and where you can subscribe to my blog and all that good stuff. But if you're here with me live today, hey friends, please say hello. Please let me know that you're here so I can welcome you. Our conversation here always starts with checking in, come as you are, because it's really in the here and the now that we can address, right? See about shifting or asking for what we need to make a shift if we need to, but often just acknowledging the truth to become aware of how we are feeling inside right here, right now. So that's why I welcome you to just share with me, right, how you're doing. And I'm coming to you from Portland, Oregon today. It's looking a little gloomy today. If we start with the weather, I got my walk in just in time because I see in the forecast it's going to start to rain. It's going to rain for a few days. So I definitely wanted to get some movement in. And the topic of our discussion today, we are going to talk about what brings us joy, and that happiness leaves a clue. And I know for so many of us on the healing journey, I just wanted peace. I just wanted to feel happy. I just wanted to move on from the past and be done with it. But what I've learned about the healing journey is that it's a process, it's a journey for sure. And there was actually things that I was able to do to claim some joy while on in the process on the healing journey. So that's what we're going to talk about today, that happiness leaves some clues, and there are some choices that we can make instead of thinking, oh, I will be happy when, right? Hey EJ, hey friend, how are you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I saw your picture on from your walk today. That looked cold. I wasn't that cold on my walk today. So it looked like there's still snow on the ground for you. I was looking at the temperature here in Portland right now. Yeah, it's 55. Not bad. Actually, they were saying we might have that for the next few days. But I do know the rain, it's going to rain tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, possibly until to Wednesday. A whole lot less snow than last week, than a week ago. Awesome. That's good, which means you don't have to walk on the street anymore. You can Are you getting back onto the sidewalk? That's I remember that growing up in Iceland, that it sometimes was hard to go out for walks or just walk period, because all the snow moved off the road onto the sidewalks, and that made it hard to be no sidewalks. So, but I've been impressed following you. I know you're getting your walks in every day, and sometimes more than one. Good for you, my friend. Good for you. Good for you. So I don't know if you heard our topic of discussion today. I'm actually going to reflect on some of the teachings from Dr. Margaret Paul on inner child work. And because she writes a lot about taking responsibility for how we are feeling, right? We can't change the past. But as we are here right now as adults with a lot of unexpressed emotions from the past, and often what can get in the way of us feeling happy, content with our lives is, negative beliefs from the past. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. The humbug, inner child. Not so much inner child today, but those two are a little bit linked. So still have to be careful on the sidewalks, depending on the time of day. It can be icy. Yes, be careful, my friend. Be careful. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, EJ, didn't you have a little slip? Not so recent. You want to be mindful of so you don't slip out there on the ice. Elizabeth, how is your weather in Spain? You went down Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry. I got my peppermint tea today. I love peppermint tea. I'm on a peppermint tea kick. So, how are you doing, Elizabeth? I was just sharing with EJ, the other Elizabeth, our topic. It's not bad, probably warm for an Iceland day. Well, let me tell you, and speaking of Iceland, right? I just checked up on any updates on the volcano. There are no active volcanoes yet, but there is a live stream on YouTube that I've been looking up to see what's happening. So, usually here on my weather map, I have the listing for Portland, Iceland, and Arizona. That's where my mom lives. So Iceland right now, let's see, Celsius is 4 degrees. Portland is 13 degrees Celsius. Arizona is 20 degrees Celsius. That's like everybody in Iceland would be out at the pool. And if it's 20 degrees, basically it's 70. 70. Elizabeth, what's your temperature? Yep, we are starting with the weather today. Elizabeth said it was in the 30s. EJ, right? It's in the 30s where you are. And the rain is coming, and it's going to rain like through Wednesday, I think. So good to see you, Elizabeth. We are going to talk a little bit about if you want to be happy, we need to recognize that happiness is the result of our thinking and our behavior, not the cause of it. So, practicing awareness of what thoughts and behaviors make you feel happy. So, I'm putting it to you guys. What thoughts and behaviors make you feel happy? So, it's going to be very short today. I cut to the chase. So I would love it if you guys shared with me what thoughts and behaviors make you happy. Just to share, right? I just went for a walk. That makes me feel happy. I did a little doodle this morning with my gratitude. I'm happy to lift it up and show you guys. That makes me happy. So did a little gratitude. I started with a circle, wrote down all the things that I'm grateful for. And then I took some markers and just made me happy. Dancing makes you happy. Yes. Hey, Sharon, I believe that. Sharon has 14 Fahrenheit. Elizabeth, Spain's 10 Celsius. That's like summer weather. Yes. Physical activity, behavior that makes me happy. Excellent. Feeling, I don't know what the word is there. Choose to do the right thing, says Elizabeth. A clean dwelling makes me happy, says EJ. Yes, I'm with you on that one. And is it the clean dwelling that makes you happy, or is it the process of cleaning something that's messy or dirty and feeling the completion of it, right? Which one is it? Because sometimes it can be both things. Or maybe it says, I'm not going to decide for you. So Elizabeth says, feel like I choose to do the right thing. Yes. Nope. I just like the clean dwelling. If I don't have to do it, I'm even happier. Got it. There you go. You can even pay someone else to do it. Well, the reason I asked EJ is because I was listening to an interview sometime this week, right? It's a blur that with one of the like the leading guru in neurobiology and what's, good and healthy for us during this time. And he was being asked like how is he like his mental health and his level of feeling okay about all the stress in the world, what he was doing to manage. And he short and sweet said basically, I'm doing a lot of cleaning right now. That seems to be what really helps my mood and helps me to feel like I'm accomplishing things. There's a beginning, there's a clear beginning, there's a clear end, and I can just focus on what's in front of me. I don't have to worry about everything else that's going on in the world. And I just so appreciated him being so authentic. Here's someone who is speaks to millions of mental health professionals all over the world and is a teacher and a leader in his profession. And, it's just like, no, right now I'm just cleaning. He says, my woman, my wife is very happy with me. I'm doing a lot of house cleaning. So, so there we go. Elizabeth said, tidying when I'm in the mood makes me happy. Yes. Yep. I hear you. I used to clean a lot more as a stress relief. Something has definitely shifted for around the cleaning thing. And I used to be a clean freak too, because I would clean here because I felt like things were a little unclean or felt unclean on the inside. So that's how the cleaning used to show up for me. And it was pretty bad. I was, yeah, like over the top clean freak. So thank goodness. And Sharon, we have seen you in action, my friend. We know how much the dancing makes you happy. So happy to see that. So, thoughts and behaviors. Please go ahead, share if you like what thoughts and behaviors make you happy, right? Once we become aware of what thoughts and behavior make us feel happy, we can become a happy person regardless of our present circumstances. Happiness doesn't just happen, it's the result of the choices that we make. And that can be, right, a challenge in the beginning. Like I felt powerless because of my childhood. I didn't feel like I had any choices, but slowly over time, I recognized what they were. So, and in this article that I'm looking here at here, Dr. Margaret Paul shares that following are five of the choices that happy people generally make. And the reason why I'm bringing this to our conversation is because it's important to remember, right? That we have a lot of down, hard conversations about the hard stuff, the hard feelings, but we can also talk about some of the other things, right? What brings us joy? To practice awareness on the good feelings. Sunshine makes me very happy. Love that, EJ. I know that about you. Warm temperature, even sweats make me happy. Balance between work, self-care, and hobbies. Yes, right? I'm with you. I'm with you, my friends. So, the first thing she lists here is happy people see the glass as half full, right? They're optimistic. I know that about myself. I'm an eternal optimist. What about you guys? Are you a glass half empty or glass half full? Optimistic thinking doesn't just happen. Again, she says it's a choice regarding how you see life. Optimistic people are optimistic because they choose to be optimistic. Instead of allowing their ego wounded self to be in charge with all its doom and gloom, happy people put their loving adult self in charge and open to the wonderful possibilities that life has to offer. Happy people realize that their thinking is the beginning of a creative process that leads to manifestation. By thinking in positive ways, they move themselves to act in ways that manifest their dreams. So, half full or half empty? EJ says, and there's me, I don't even bother seeing a glass. Optimistic and proactive towards improving things that don't feel right. Excellent, right? And it all starts there. It all starts with awareness, right? The choice. The next one is kindness. Happy people choose to be kind and compassionate towards themselves and others. Happy people have learned that how they treat themselves and others determines how much of how they feel. Happy people do not wait to be happy before being kind to themselves and others. They realize that their happiness is a result of their caring behavior, not the cause of it. They are kind, caring, and compassionate whether or not they feel like it. They have chosen this way of being, and their happiness is a result. So I have shared with you guys my journey with kindness before. But if you think about some of the people around you that express kindness, that you, if you think of them, you know, like people that stick out because they're kind, do they seem to you like they're happier people? I'm curious. I'm curious. And again, I just want to emphasize that these choices, right, to be happy, to be kind, to see the glass like half full, it's an active choice, right? It's not someone just putting on a Pollyanna face, um, but it's actually they people work towards it. They work hard at it. And I know that was true for myself when I realized that, I can actually impact instead of keep thinking I'm not good enough. I won't be happy until, right? The blank, fill in the blank. I won't be happy until, or I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if, right? It's like, no. And we are going to, a couple more things that I'm going to share that help us with awareness make that shift. So here's the next one, and this can be sticky for some people, so bear with me, okay? Forgiveness. Happy people do not harbor resentment towards others. This is Dr. Margaret Paul. I'm reflecting here on one of her articles. Even others who have been mean and hurtful towards them. I want to pause here and say, I'm not saying that we should go out and forget or forgive people that have hurt us, that have traumatized us, that are, bullies, violent, any of that. That's not what I'm saying, okay? There's a difference. But she goes on here to say they realize that resentment makes them unhappy. So they choose to allow people their humanness and forgive them their hurtful behavior, because happy people tend not to take personally others' uncaring behavior. They don't get their feelings hurt in the same way that people do who take others' behavior personally. Happy people recognize that others' behavior is about that other person. So they move into compassion towards themselves and others rather than into judgment. If someone is often mean and hurtful, right? Here it is. Then a happy people choose to care about the other person from a distance rather than spend time with that person, because it isn't loving to themselves to be around mean and uncaring people. So, absolutely, right? Remove ourselves from people who are uncaring. Any thoughts on this one? Any thoughts on this one? And I also remember carrying resentment for a long time towards people. And then I realized it was a waste of my time and energy. So, because I couldn't control other people, I couldn't change them. I could only change how I was feeling. It didn't make that how they had treated me was acceptable. But as long as I stayed resentful or angry, um, I was like feeding that energy, that I was like connected to them in some way, and I did not want to do that anymore. So I know some people that I do not want them in my life. I love them from a distance, send them love and light, but I'm not their punching bag anymore. I'm not here to for them to dump on. And so removing myself, because that's loving for me. I feel relieved when I don't hold on to resentment, but that's hard to do sometimes. Yes, Elizabeth, I hear you. It is. It is hard sometimes. But again, I don't even like how resentment feels in in my body. And of course, I'm work in progress and not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but have worked pretty hard at just like, my inner circle is pretty close, small. And I've worked hard at it. It's like, gosh, I grew up with enough drama and um, craziness for many, many lifetimes. So it was very important to me to both protect my kids and myself from as little trauma as possible. And as I learned to be kind and respectful towards me, it's like, no, I'm not going to put up with that from other people. And so I don't have that experience very much anymore, but there is definitely, there are a couple people who who kind of can trigger that in me, and that's why I say I just like I'm not going to put myself in that situation, because my health and well-being is worth my peace and calm. So again, because I can't change other people, and I will not subject myself to people's bullying or judgments. So the next one is acceptance. Happy people realize what they can control and what they can't. She says here, they live by the serenity prayer, accepting things they cannot change and change the things they can. Unhappy people are constantly trying to change people and circumstances and do not accept their lack of control. As a result, they are constantly frustrated. Happy people realize they cannot control others and outcomes, so they focus on what they can control, their own thinking and behavior. Acceptance of what they can and cannot control leads to happiness and inner peace, right? Just like I was sharing that this was very interesting. And again, because growing up, I had no idea that I could, I thought how I felt was directly related to other people, right? Um, and that's why we spend years trying to make sure other people are happy because that we think that's directly to related to I'm going to be happy if they're happy. Codependent behavior, right? And then when I realized I have nothing to do with this person's happiness. EJ says, I'm constantly reminding my son about not having control over anything except himself. He struggles with control or not having it. Yes, I hear you, EJ. I absolutely hear you. I think it's a challenging issue for most people. For most people. I also think how we've been parenting. I'm not talking about, of course, we're good parents. So, but the parenting paradigms that we've seen have a lot of them revolved around control, right? And even our education system, it's about control. Um, so many of us grow up with thinking, right? Like other people clearly benefited from controlling us or clearly benefited, right? It's like we were controlled. So often we grow up thinking, and I think this is also kind of linked into our humans as humans, our need for sense of power. We're very confused about, where power comes from. And so it makes sense that we think control, if we don't like something, it's about these people or this, what's happening here. But we forget it's about how we respond to what's happening here. So, yeah. So I get it. I get it. Totally get it, what you're saying. And it's one of those things we learn as we grow. We learn the hard way, right? Or once we've been trying something often enough and we realize this isn't working, right? And that's where then our boundaries come up, right? We can speak about what we need out of this relationship or in this interaction or in this friendship or in this agreement that we have, and hold each other accountable with kindness and generosity, but speak up when boundaries are disrespected, and take responsibility for ourselves, right? Like when you do this, it makes me feel like this, right? And this is what I need from you. Are you willing? And to do our best to ask from our adult self, not from judgment or blame. And always start with ourselves, right? Start with ourselves, because really that's how the greatest way to impact other people is to live by example, be an example of how you want to be treated, treat others the way you want to be treated. So, and then the last one here, we said optimism, kindness, forgiveness, acceptance. And then the last one is gratitude. Gratitude. She says here, finally, happy people are consistently grateful for what they have rather than complaining about what they don't have. They notice the many gifts and blessings that come their way, and they frequently express gratitude for the everyday things in their lives. The beauty of nature, the food they eat, the smile on a friend's face, their ability to see and hear and walk and talk. Even many disabled people who may not have the blessings of eyesight, hearing, speech, or legs are often happy people because they focus on what they do have and what they can do rather than focusing on what they are missing out on. And that's kind of definitely one of my ongoing practices is some gratitude journal that I do differently, different days, but it's very important for me to express my gratitude. So much to be grateful for. So, again, I'm curious, what are you guys grateful for? What comes up for you thinking about gratitude? And the other thing I have noticed and did notice on my healing journey, it was really the simple things. It was really the simple things. And just looking at my things here today, it's hard to see because I scribbled all over it with colors. I colored all over it. But a lot of it is, right, a safe bed, right, a peaceful place to live. I have food in my refrigerator. I have my health. I have the time freedom because of my work to take care of myself in between my client calls. I can go for walks. I was grateful for the sunshine this morning, and I'm also grateful for the rain because yep, it rains a lot here in Portland, but because of it, I can't wait for spring when all the trees start to bloom. Oh my gosh. It is quite a sight to behold, and I wouldn't have believed um, until I've seen it with my own eyes. Right, pictures don't do it justice, but it's so beautiful. All the trees when they bloom in spring. So I'm grateful for all the rain, even though I was complaining about a little bit earlier, saying it's going to rain for the next 4 or 5 days because of the flowers, and I love flowers. So actually, believe it or not, I saw a tree on my way earlier. I almost stopped to take a picture that has started to bloom. I have no idea what kind of tree, but it has teeny tiny white little blooms on it already. And it feels like it just popped in the last 24 hours. So EJ says, I was grateful for the sun today, even if it was deceiving in regards to how chilly it really was. I'm with you, EJ. I get it. I I'm often the one who overdress coming, being raised in really cold weather. I often dress in layers and I'll rather will take them off than be out there and be too cold. So, because the chill, the wind is deceiving. So you look out the window, oh, it's not too bad. I can see the sun. And then you come out and it's freezing. So I do think, EJ, they're starting to bloom. They're going to start soon, very soon. Elizabeth says, I'm grateful for the food and the refrigerator and for being able to heal. Yes, I hear you, my friend. Absolutely. I'm with you. I'm with you. It definitely feels like a privilege that I have been able to, find the resources, the information that I needed to understand what had happened, why my body and my thinking and my feelings were so hard, right? To really help me understand that why I thought so poorly of myself for such a long time and how I can turn that around. And a lot of that actually is because of inner child work, inner bonding. I was able to help to heal my little wounded self, my inner child, and help her to see that there was nothing wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with her. She just wasn't kept safe. And as a result of it, she thought there was something wrong with her because that's what kids do. EJ says, grateful to be able to work from home. That allowed me to make a beautiful brisket today. Yes, love it. Love it. I hear you. It's been interesting too, right? The working from home thing since I have been working from home for a very long time. So this is definitely not new territory for me. And it's interesting. I actually had just started to work at a local yoga studio offering my TRE practice, TRE classes, when literally midstream, two weeks into 4 weeks, I had to pivot and bring the class online. So I'm definitely grateful for this to be able to do my work and connect with people from all over the world. So, but about working from home today, oh my goodness, I was just talking to my daughter earlier. I was laughing because you guys know I have two cats and they are like having rambunctious teenagers because I'm recording things on my computer. As you know, I'm recording the audios for the Journey to the Heart. So, recording 365 of them. It takes some time. And so, today, as I was here, set up nice and quiet, my cats decide they want to be fed. And so one of them starts, and I'm like, come on, Kevin, not now. You know it's not time. I put him away, and the other one starts. And I'm like, come on. I had to get up again and pause everything and put him away. And then I can hear them in the other room, literally like tearing down something. And I was, so they were pushing my buttons today. I was starting to feel resentful of those cats. And then I just started laughing. It's like, oh gosh, come on. My resolve was being tested today, but I won because I just laughed about it. it it was like a comedy skit. So they were tearing around. So, anyways, so the joys of working from home. Yes, unpredictable. So I keep telling people with my audios, there's all kinds of sounds in the background. Just ignore it. I do my best to keep it or to cut it out. So send them out to play in traffic, says EJ. Yeah, I hear you. Actually, I keep my cats indoor. They're indoor cats. I care too much about the local wildlife, and it's healthier for the cats to be indoors too. So, but man, today I don't know. Well, I know they wanted to be fed, and so literally before I sat down and hit the recording here, go live, I made sure to feed them, or they would be giving me heck of a time right now. So, to anyone who has cats, you know who runs the show. Yeah, it's them for sure. So that's the joy of my life today. Do they rip out the blankets? No, but they don't do that, but they will find paper. Yes, yes, they will find paper and start tearing it up. And I stick them in my son's room, and he has a laundry basket, and they will literally start tearing at that laundry basket because it's kind of plasticky, but to them it looks like it's woven. And so they will go after that as well. And it's just like, yeah, my son makes art. So he has learned the hard way. Yeah, he has to make sure the art is either put up on the wall or put into the closet somewhere off the ground where the cats can't get to him. Because literally, he was in his art class, had to turn in an art project that Kevin had chewed the edge off, and he literally had to tell his art teacher, my cat ate my homework. And he was not lying. It was absolutely true. the cat had gotten to his artwork. So, yeah, the stories of our fur babies. So, my friends, to sum up, to sum it up, right? If we want to be happy, we need to recognize that happiness is the result of our thinking and our behavior, right? Not the cause of it. We choose practices that help us to become aware, to bring up into our consciousness what thoughts and behaviors make you feel happy. And yes, then we have to sometimes deal with the guilt or the beliefs that come up around that we're not allowed to be happy, that we are not good enough to be happy, or all that stuff. Yes. But right, we can become happy, a happy person regardless of our present circumstances. Happiness doesn't just happen. It's the result of the choices that we make. So, and with that, I drew a card today, and I want to come clean today. I pulled the card, and then I thought about the topic of today. So, the card is one day she woke up and decided to be happy. And then I was like, that's a very good topic. Like, even when things are hard, even when the healing journey is not done, like, even when things, right, are painful, we can still remember what are the things that bring me joy, right? What are the things that I'm grateful for? And it is our responsibility to do our best, of course, to make sure we do a little bit of that every day, whether it's walking, painting, cooking, right? Cleaning. I love reading. Learning new things brings me so much joy, makes me happy. So I was actually looking, I have like one, two, three books on my table right now, and I was kind of looking through all of them over this last week. So yes, you're welcome, Elizabeth. Welcome. There are things, right? We aren't just going to sit and wait to be happy. We need to be proactive. We can be proactive. That's the power of our choices, right? No bandwidth for more learning and reading. I hear you, Elizabeth. I get it. Some days I do, sometimes I don't, right? I know your job is very consuming, right? And there are days when I'm like, no, I cannot. I just need to watch a Disney movie or get my paint out and just doodle, or I'll watch YouTube with watercolor videos. That makes me happy too. Watercoloring, doodling, drafting, that makes me happy. So I appreciate you guys being here today. It's good to be here with you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and that you have a good weekend, and that you maybe keep some of this with you into the weekend about, what can I think about that brings me joy? What thoughts make me feel good? Right? And what actions can I take? What can I do? And to do more of that. Because the other stuff won't go away. It's going to be here. We can get to it. It's that balance, right? With that, my friends, again, remember Yes, this healing journey can definitely be hard at times, but remember you have everything that you need to heal and restore. Your body comes fully equipped with everything that you need. And the more kindness we show ourselves, the more awareness we are of our thoughts, and the more care we can take in our self care. More sleep would make me happy, says EJ. Yes, I get it. I get it. Sleep is very important to me and my happiness. This body likes sleep. I sometimes feel like I'm making up for decades of being a night owl, and I never liked sleeping because it was just my body was like, no, we're going to avoid that. I hear you. I absolutely hear you. I understand, but I worked my booty off to get there. So my body is the happiest if I get like 8 or 9 hours of sleep. So I do my best to listen to that. I listen to that. So so thanks again, Elizabeth and EJ, for the comments and the suggestions and feedback. I appreciate it. Have a beautiful, restful weekend, and I will be here same time, same place next week. Until then, have a happy weekend. Thank you. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, friends. Good night.